Welcome back, you guys. It is Fit Greek here. Welcome to YouTube and to my channel where you get crazy drama, you get fitness, you get nutrition. If you don't know me, I am a fitness instructor. I am retired from the military and I just kind of chillax as a mommy and a wife. But anyways, I would love for you guys to subscribe to my channel and then ring the little bell and follow me down here on Instagram. But today's video, before we go there, my eye, it's healing. Today's video is how to buy a luxury vehicle. Okay, so I am rolling up now with my 2021 GLC 300 Mercedes-Benz. It's a compact SUV. But before I got there, I had a 87 Ford Ranger XLT, and I loved that. That was my baby. It was my cowgirl days, riding up, taking care of it, immaculate paint job, and all. Pretty much a gift given to me because the guy that I knew gave it to me. Bought that with my very first paycheck for $710. Yes, you're right. But secondly, before I went into the my second vehicle that I owned was a 2008 Toyota TC Scion. And it was baby blue, beautiful as can be, and I loved her. And she had the hatchback and all, but let me tell you, it was not the most smart thing, let me tell you, to buy a new car before going into boot camp, right? But anyways, rolling into, 2010, I bought my next, I traded that car in once I got from Montana to Langley was my next duty station in Virginia. I decided to trade in that vehicle because I found out I was pregnant with my first child, so why not get a family vehicle? Love my Ford truck. I'm like, why not? Let's go back with another Ford. So we ended up going with a Ford Edge, a 2010 Ford Edge. Awesome. Charcoal interior, burgundy exterior, ambient lighting, sunroof. I love the body. It was nice and bubbly, and yes. It had Bluetooth. I mean, it was so badass that I could download pictures, to make background screen savers. It was so cool. Yes, and it actually had a CD-ROM back when. I'm a dinosaur. Anyways, so rolling forward, I used that vehicle and I just I did cross country moving out here to Arizona with it. And that was a V6. It wasn't good on gas. And so by the time I got done with the lift, I did about 5 months on it. By the time I traded that in 2019 in March, it had 75,000 miles on it. So it had low mileage on it. And it purred and it ran like a baby. So I ended up trading in my 2010 Ford Edge for what I thought to be was an Audi. Because I was so obsessed about getting my luxury vehicle. Because my husband had a 2010 5 Series BMW. And every time when he was stationed different places, I would utilize it. It was a four-door sports car, but it drove well, handled well. I could just mold that car to my body. It was great. And I'm like, well, it was either between BMW and Audi and Mercedes. So I ended up going to Ford for whatever reason. We walked in and I'm like, hey, I just want to look at a couple of your Ford Edges. Anyways, I'm like, don't want to buy a car. That's what I told my husband. Well, we ended up sitting. I'm like, hey, can you give me this 2019 Ford Edge for $27,000 cash out the door? Poor boy, he probably wasn't even 22 years old. I'm like, I need to know yes or no to this number because I'm walking across the way to Audi because I have an appointment with them. So anyways, we sealed that deal. We got the 2019 Ford Edge. Perfect. This one was an EcoBoost 4-liter I'm sorry, 2.4 liter 4-cylinder. So it was a step up and eco. And great cargo space, gorgeous lining on the interior leather, the stitching and everything. It had heated seats, Bluetooth, built-in navigation, Siri, and also Apple Play. Keep that in mind. My 2010 did have ambient lighting. This did not. So, which was nice. So anyways, I drove that until it maybe had under 16,000 miles. I'm like, no, you know what? It's not sitting right in my gut. I wanted my luxury vehicle. And also hence the fact that this car also molds to your lumbar and it was great for back support and all that stuff. The only thing was the steering wheel didn't pull out closer to you, and I have really long arms. Really long arms. So, it does move. I think it was manual. You had to do it. It wasn't electronic. But otherwise, it did have the light sensors for both blinkers and all this stuff. It had everything except for the sunroof, which was nice because I didn't need a sunroof. So I'm like, I really want my luxury car, BMW. I didn't see anything flowing right. It seemed like it was all the same stuff, I'll say. Audi, same thing, nothing catching my eye. It was like the Q5 SUV was actually smaller than the Ford Edge. But then the Q7 was a third row. I didn't want a third row. So yeah, that was some major specs. But then I'm like, Mercedes kept coming out with new and higher technology. Granted, my girlfriend is a spokesperson for them. It was constantly informing me and updating me with stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe I will go with Mercedes. I wasn't all about Mercedes, but let's check into it. Ran across. I'm like, hey, I want to trade in my vehicle. Okay. I ended up with, I'm like, I want something comparable to my Ford Edge. They're like, okay, we got a 2020 GLC 300. Okay, perfect. You got built-in you have navigation, right? You have all that stuff, heated seats, all that, correct? And everything else was just, icing on the cake. He's like, yes, yes, yes. So with that being said, I'm having it, well, it was on the show floor because it was just a coincidence. I walked in and it was a white car because I was going for white this time. And the interior was red. It was cranberry with black and all. And I'm like, no. I'm like, crazy. This fits my whole bull flex and my red, black, white. It was meant to be. So I think it had 2 or 5 miles on the odometer. I'm like, hey, let's do this cash. I need to be out. I need to be in and out in about an hour. I got cash. Let me know. So I'm like, I want this number. Go. So we sealed the deal. I was in and out in about an hour and a half. I still made it to my meeting. And then that was the afternoon. So then I had to pick up my daughter. And then so all that was 20 miles. So I come back and I was having a lot more. I wanted to understand more of the MB navigation and the technology with the voice controls because it was a little bit more fluid than more command-like words that I had on my 2019 Ford Edge. So anyways, there was something leaking. Long story short, we had to just swap out cars. So with that being said, they had to find a car that was coming off the ship. And they're like, sorry, the only way you're going to get a navigation in a German car is if you have it pre-installed from the factory. Read all those lips. So you need to have all your stuff customized before it leaves the factory, folks. So it didn't have preset navigation. It had my CarPlay, and I didn't like that because I didn't like my CarPlay on my Ford either. I'm like, I need navigation. That is what my car had that I traded in, and this is what I expect now. So they're like, well, MB's going away with that. We're going on CarPlay. Okay, well, that sucks because, you're still charging us the same amount because it's MB, and yet there's no navigation. Who doesn't have a car with navigation? Let's just be real. Hyundai has that. Toyota has that. Dodge. Everybody else has that. And the thing is they're catching up to luxury too if you actually really look into these vehicles. So now it's just the selective, how much do you want to pay for your car? I paid $27 on the Ford Edge. Almost $70. Yeah. With that being said, my 2019 had the reverse light, you know, the reverse camera and all that. Now, it didn't have a 360 and it didn't park itself. Mercedes-Benz does have a very nice safety and security system, if you'll say. So anyways, they had to get me a new car and I wanted navigation. So they were able to swindle another car to divert from San Francisco to me. And it was the same exterior with the same interior. So I got hella lucky. But what I got was 360 cameras. 360 cameras. Yeah, 360 all over the vehicle. Also, it autonomously brakes itself and also parks itself. Also has its sensors where it brakes if a car is coming within range. So I do all love those systems. As far as the sport gas and brake pad, I could do away with that. It does have its ambient lighting. The Bose system is good, or it's a different system. I have to look. The cup holders, I don't know what's going on there, because my 2020 had run flats. The rims were 20-inch, which were nice, but I didn't like the run flats. 2021 had no run flat, 19-inch sport rim, and regular old school flat spare in the back, which is what I prefer because I would like that peace of mind in the back of my brain. So, but also the 2020 didn't have the extensive parking and camera systems. So, I mean, it was a trade-off. So, point is to get a vehicle that's luxury, you're going to have to pay the cost. When there's vehicles out there that pretty much have the exact same thing. Yeah, so I don't know if Tesla does the parking, but I know Tesla, they have their own specialties and their own things. But, you know, it's something that you have to look into. This car does have a you can select dynamic drives. So if you're eco, meaning driving long distance from here to Vegas, that's great. Comfort's usually around town. Sport plus. It just depends on how your foot is on the gas. This one is a 2.3 liter, 1 liter less, but still a 4-cylinder. And so it does get okay mileage to it. But like I said, paid 3 times as much for the name. And yes, I'm happy with everything inside. Yes, I love it. It's gonna be the last car I ever own. And yeah, I hope this all helps out, you guys. Luxury cars aren't always the best, but just figure out what you truly want. Like I said, when I got in my car accident, having rentals really destroyed my shoulder. But when I sat back down in my Mercedes, it just it felt like a glove to my body. And the thing was I didn't realize as soon as I readjusted the steering wheel, because that actually, you can program that to do that, so it's not manual. That will adjust towards you and up and down. So that is truly nice when you have long arms. So anyways, don't always believe the hype on luxury vehicles. And also German cars are a lot harder to maintain just because under the hood it's so much more tighter. Whereas American cars are a little bit more spacious, and that's just what I've kind of learned overall in the years that I've had vehicles. But anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this information. Hopefully this helps you see a different light in between regular vehicles and luxury vehicles. And I hope you guys like, subscribe, click on that notification bell so it can ring. Follow me down here on Instagram and you can see more crazy stuff that I'm just pondering up in my brain. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.